yes, oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? New moves detected for Bitcoin, guys. We'll be analyzing the situation because we do have some high probability movements that have been detected with this recent move that we've had to the upside. Make sure to destroy the like button if you do like the content, guys. If you like the education and the possible setups that I'm looking for, make sure to share some love, smash up the like button, leave your comment section after the live stream, and let's crack right into it, guys. Let's say hello to the beautiful community right away and say hello. Okay, let's go, let's go. Mother here, always giving love and support. Staffer one, always here. How are you doing, boss? Hope you're doing great. Tiramisu, hello Andy, let's go, let's go. Sug, good morning, folks. Time for a coffee and a cigarette and a little bit of Andy. Much love to you, my man. Stay safe, stay sound. Hi all, Simply 3 Jack. Buenos dias, Andy, Jimmy. Hope you're doing absolutely phenomenal. Right, let's crack on, right? Much love, Javan. Hello, low time frame, please first. I mean, nothing has changed on the higher time frame. We do cover the higher time frame like once or twice every week, right? But where the meat and potatoes is on the lower time frame, right? What did we talk about yesterday? Who was here on the stream yesterday? We were talking about the breakdown here from this $84,000 range. The successful breakdown is unlikely. If we test the lows, get ready to look for an internal bounce here. Regardless, I mean, if you are speculating that, you know, if you are feeling bullish, right? If you are feeling bullish or bearish, doesn't really matter. I have to say, we need to give priority to the bears. We are downtrending, legends. You know, we are downtrending. The bounces that we're getting to the upside, you know, last week, man, this looks horrendous. It doesn't look great. Just like this bounce was not looking great. Just like this one right over here was not looking great. We're downtrending, guys. I'm sorry, right? The trend is your friend, they say. And I am giving priority to the bears. It's not going to stop me from looking for internal long positions just in case this turns out bullish, right? What if we do form a higher low here? What if? I don't know. What we can detect is the probabilities that we are unlikely going to break down successfully from the recent lows that we formed yesterday. And this is crucial to understand, guys. You know, I will come up on a stream and say there's high probability in doing this, and then the price does this, and I'll have to come tomorrow and say, guys, well, you know, it seems like that this wave was, you know, it was this scenario that was lower probability in my opinion, and it played out, right? So we are never 100% right? But we try and be, you know, a 70, 80%, you know, 70, 80% of the times right on detecting where the opportunities lie, right? And the invalidation. So that's what we try to do the best here, all right? Anybody that is better, let me know right now, right? We want to, I've had it, guys. You need to try and be the best. If not, you're going to get eaten up by competition. And I've had it. It's over, guys. We are back to bring the best out there, right? And that's how we need to see it. We need to see it with likes. We need to see it with views. We need to see it with comments. Let's go, Andy. Great analysis. Let's go, right? Regardless, there will be moments that I am going to be wrong eventually, right? It's impossible to be 100% right. But we try and be right as most of the times. And if we are not, I'm not going to be right. We need to have invalidations, right? I do not want to participate in this trade. Even though if my bias is bearish, I understand that a reversal could be possible. A higher low here could be possible, right? And this is where we go through the lower time frames and explain yesterday with this recent move to the downside. This is too of a shallow bounce to get a successful breakdown. And if you do test the lows, what we are looking at is either a double, triple bottom to sweep up the recent lows. That was the plan, looking at the lower time frame, regardless if it's going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it's going to be an ABC. Guys, we might even rocket to $93,000 in the next coming days. We need to talk about that. I'm not favoring it, but it's possible. And, you know, this was a valid entry zone. We explained yesterday, guys, I'm really not looking for continuation down here to get to below $80,000. I really do believe, based on my analysis, well, based on Elliott wave theory, based on, you know, probabilities. It's not my analysis. I'm not special, guys. I've just learned how to read the markets, right? And look at the probability side. I'm not special. I'm just a random dude on the internet. And this has to be said eventually. There's no financial advice. This is only my opinion. None of my videos should be treated as investment or financial advice. Never, ever. It's just my opinion. We can talk about scenarios, talk about trading plans, talk about, hey, you know, if we test the lows, listen, bear with me here. If we test the lows below 84,800, 700, wherever that low was, and we do get that movement down and we get back above, you know, we got a good chance for an internal bounce of a couple of $1,000s here. There is a good chance that we're going to get that bounce to sweep up the lower highs. And the main reason why is because if you get this movement down so aggressively, right, like this, with a few 1-2s here if you wish, and then the big breakdown, these bounces are not enough to get power and break through. Yeah, after a larger bounce, there could be more power later on to actually break down a few $1,000s from this recent low, but not with the shallow bounces, okay? You very most commonly, you do hit at least the 382 most of the times, right? When we do get Fibonacci and we do get an aggressive move to the downside. Bear with me here, guys, because, you know, we cover education as well, right? You want to understand, well, why did you say that a successful breakdown from yesterday's lows was unlikely? Because if you have a big move with high volume, you want to, you know, very much see a larger bounce, okay? Also in timing, these bounces with timing are very shallow to consider them a wave 4. When we go with one of the scenarios that we are favoring, which is that 5-wave move to the downside, right? Which is this one right over here. Hang on a minute, I'm just getting my fib settings, okay, sorted out. Oh man, bear with me here, guys. Bear with me. Tradingview is just is getting frozen here, and it doesn't want to play ball with me. So yeah, anyway, one of the scenarios, local bearishness, is looking at this possibly, right? You know, this is what we were talking about yesterday as well, and that the wave 3 right over here, if you there's the bullish one, which is an ABC, guys. This is why it kind of looks interesting to say, okay, this is a 3-wave structure for the moment, and this 3-wave structure, you know, can prove us wrong and go to higher levels. Why not? Maybe this has been bullish, even though it looks very bad for a bullish impulse. But there is a way of putting it in here. And if you have a 3-wave move down and you can detect, okay, the possibility of this still being that, you know, 3rd wave or C wave, just because these bounces over here that are so shallow are still part of the wave. These little bounces right over here, and you got the biggest move here, these little bounces are still part of this wave. Now we have formed another wave formation, which is what we're going to talk about today, guys. Don't worry about it. This is actually the area where, if this is going to be true, that it is a 5-wave impulse down, that you're developing your 4th wave, you know, this is the rejection zone, okay? Between 382, 50% Fibonacci, you got a nice lower high here at 87.7, which is interesting for an SFP, just in confluence with the 50% Fibonacci. It's actually also with the anchored VWAP from that lower high from Friday the 28th, this new downtrend after this bounce. So this lower high is relevant for an anchored VWAP. I would treat it as a good pivot to get the anchored VWAP on. Anchored VWAP, 50%, lower high right there. Your invalidation is 88.8K. So this is going to be interesting. We might, let's see if we do get another push here to the upside to sweep, that lower high and hit the 50% Fibonacci. It would be a pretty interesting scenario, right? We got that little dead cat bounce over here, and I'm just going to put that pivot right away, guys, because it might be the SFP that we're looking for. I like it. I like it. Big move down with high volume. Your first little consolidation. It's always a great level for a possible reaction. It gives you good risk management. You get above it, you get below it. It gives you that trigger to get in safely with responsible risk management. That's what we do, guys, as traders. We trade responsibly. Yeah, stop loss at the high, entry here. Looking for the movement down to take out the lows. Stop loss is ridiculous. It's small. It's something that I can afford to take, okay, if this is going to play out, right? I know that the golden pocket should not be hit because the golden pocket is that invalidation for a wave 4. It should not reach 88.7. Well, you might think, well, I'm just going to enter a short right now. I mean, yeah, if you're happy to put stop loss at the invalidation, which is the 88.8K, I like to be a little bit more, more in detail, very technical. If it rolls over from here, I'll have to say I missed on the short, but I like to say 50%, hit that lower high, hit the anchored VWAP as well from this pivot high right there. Stretch your legs a little bit and get that reaction so I can get that, perfect execution. Sometimes if you want to be very perfect in trading, you're going to miss a lot of trades. This is what happens to me a lot of the times, where I want to be so perfect on my setups that the price might just roll over from here, or it might pump through, right? It doesn't matter. I like a level, I'm going to wait for that level. I like a confluence level, I'm going to wait for it. So, it really depends on your trading style. We can give projections, but yeah, we're probably going to come up there to that level now in the next coming minutes. Let's see if we do, tackle that 87.7. It's just a good confluence area. I have to say, why the price is getting a little bit of a reaction right now in this zone throughout the last few hours. We have to say it's a high volume node. There's a big volume here, right? Big volume right there. That's where the price is kind of really struggling, right, to try and get above this cluster on the volume profile. So, it could either pop out or it could attempt to pop out and fail. That's what we like to see, right? Those pop outs that fail, right? So let's see if we do try and attempt to get above 87.7. Anybody that is not feeling like, I haven't got time to look at a perfect trading setup, well, hey, look no further. The golden pocket is your invalidation. If you're happy to take the shot right now instead of being, going into small little details and trying to get a, perfect execution, well, this is your zone. This is the zone of rejection. Your invalidation is 88.8K, right? That's looking at Elliott wave theory. That's looking at the technical side of it, right? It's not it's my opinion, but it's based on Elliott wave theory, right? So no financial advice. This is just what the charts is giving us. Let's go right away through obviously I've got a lot of things, guys, to talk about. A lot of things. This would be the first internal one. As mentioned, I would be happy to, maybe miss out the shot. Maybe you can get into a small position if you jump into that level and reject. This movement to the upside, I have to say, we've got some news later on, guys. We'll dive into some news as well. I don't think anybody cares about news, right? We've been actually quite bearish and detecting that, this could definitely be the high, and this zone could be an interesting shorting level if you watch the Saturday's video update, okay? Where, we were talking about a zigzag here. Maybe react at this, fair value gap. Be careful here, because if you lose this level, you're likely going to get a big dump. So you want to, that's your guideline. If you lose this level, you're not in a long position anywhere in this zone. You're out. Okay, and if you're looking for shorts, well, the 91.7K is your option to detect that lower high, because there is a possibility that the high is in of this momentum. We talked about this on Saturday. And then, of course, the next day, well, we dumped because of Michael Saylor FUD that he needs to maybe sell his Bitcoin, or, you know, the Japan bonds that are going up, right? And it's created this shakeout. Well, you know, the entry zone was, you know, it is what it is, right? It's on the charts, right? Despite whatever happens, we are downtrending, right? If we were to get some kind of a rejection from here, right, a little bit of sideways momentum and then nuke, you're going to come see somebody saying, well, this is because Donald Trump, you know, took a fart and, you know, said that China this and China that. And, you know, the trend is down. So, you know, we need a lot of power to break structure to believe that we're getting into a new uptrend. And it's on the charts, basically, right? So, yeah, let's just quickly go through the comment section. I got several scenarios. We're going to talk about it. The most internal one right here is, you know, this is the zone that the price needs to reject if we are going to continue, you know, speculating on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Claim the lows here, then obviously the bounce, and then go to lower levels throughout next week. But yeah, we're going to break down a few scenarios. There are bullish scenarios as well, and we need to know our invalidations, know our entry points. Who longed yesterday? Did anybody long yesterday as we were speculating, you know, based on knowledge, that a breakdown successfully here, wick down the low and get back above could give you that long trigger to sweep up the lower highs? We were looking at yesterday, this is low probability that we do break down here successfully after this big wave. We're not considering any of this wave 4s, and we're considering more locally, right, to the end of the stream, because we did higher time frame. But I know a lot of people, somebody in the comment section saying, you know, go straight away to the lower time frame, man. This is where, you know, this is where we have the meat and potatoes. This is where we're getting the food, right? So anyway, we tested the low yesterday and successfully moving up now a few $1,000s. You know, I would treat it as a scalp because, you know, this scenario is very real. Forming a lower high in this region, you know, at the 87, 88K zone max is very, very real, right? And shorts internally here, understanding the invalidation, which is 89K, slightly below, is you know what we're looking at here at the moment. It just has priority, guys. It has priority till proven otherwise. So you need to realize your invalidation and you know, you're basically the different scenarios. Man, Tradingview, come on, what are you doing? Okay, right, let's go through comment section right away. Let me know. But it was a valid long position anyway. Yesterday we explained how, you know, a double bottom here, right? You know, claim the lows. Not too interested here. You know, your entry would have been in this zone. Give a bit of a stop loss. It's already a 3-to-1 risk to reward on this bounce. And we did explain that why it was low probable to break down here, and that testing the lows and getting a larger relief rally was the highest probability. Come on, I mean, that gives you a nice little scalp long, a nice little day trade long, and it's worth leaving some open, just a little bit, give or take, you know, 30% of the position, 20, whatever you want. But, you know, this has the potential to be an ABC, and then, you know, suddenly we just rallying to the upside in the next coming days, right? And it's like, oh yeah, I thought this was going to be bearish, but you are positioned. You are positioned right there for, you know, to hedge against any new shorts that you're going to take. The beauty about trading is shorting and longing and hedging from your positions, right? That's the beauty of it. I can feel more bearish right now. I can say that, you know, yeah, I'm favoring the movement down here and, you know, get a correction and then move down. Maybe the fifth wave is very explosive. I don't know, right? But I am in favor of the price, you know, continue to the downside. But if we can detect some internal movements based on probabilities, because we get information on the chart, this information that we had yesterday, you know, I can break this down also with you right now, right? Which is pretty interesting to see. You know, this is important. It is important because it's like to the T, guys. This is like absolutely insane. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit of a while if I do it like that. But you can see here how you have this structure right over here. Check out the momentum from the lower high that we formed on Sunday. Check out this right over there. How many waves do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You could arguably discuss that you have 3 1, 2s. You got the big movement down, third wave, right? This is a little bounce. You can really consider that this is part 4, 5 of this movement down. Bang, 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 right? You got this momentum. This momentum right over here is part of that wave. Then you got 4, 5, which is from the middle one. And then you got 4 and 5, which is from the first one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 5, 2, and 3. There you got it. This is all one wave. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So this is the, as these bounces are very, very shallow, you kind of, you understand, we didn't do this count yesterday, but you understand that breaking down successfully from this low is low probability. And if you reclaim that level, it gives you an entry trigger and a stop loss, and you're looking for the highs locally here to be swept, which was explained on yesterday's stream throughout the end of the live stream, right? That's what we do. That's what we like to do. We understand the probabilities, and claiming the low of yesterday and getting that internal bounce was very, very possible. So we need to find some scenarios for today's stream so we can come up on tomorrow's stream and say, guys, remember what we said yesterday. That's what we're looking for. That's what we had, right? That's what we do here best, guys. Anybody that does it best, bring him over. We'll do a one-to-one battle on a live stream. See who's got the best TA and probabilities. Let's go, legends. We are back. Let's go through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community and see what's going on. We'll go through the 15-minute time frame, guys, right now, and go in through the internal details. That's what we like. You wanna be the best. You want to learn from the best, right? You want to be good. You want to stick around and understand what is being explained on the stream so you become a successful trader, right, in the future. Let's go. Prime up 50%. Let's go, my man. You have Patron. Hello, Andy. Stanko. Much love. You are the best coach, Andy. Thank you. Thank you, my man. These words are very important right now in these times. I got a strike on YouTube, right? People are getting tired of crypto. We talk about trading education. We need to, trade ourselves out into holding our bags and having these diamond hands that are getting us wrecked, guys. My spot bags haven't done too great when I talk about altcoins. Bitcoin's done phenomenal, guys, eventually. But other altcoins, guys, have done bad, right? I was also I'm still holding some bags of altcoins that are just, obviously, it's a very small percentage of my net worth, right? But it's still, I know some people take this seriously about buying so many different AI coins and whatnot from, different bigger influencers out there that are just going to sugarcoat everything and then just forget about it. We do not forget about anything here, guys. If we talked about a project that hasn't done too well, I will come and say, guys, same as ICP. ICP was my main one of 2025. It didn't do too well. It went down. I said, guys, I'm going to hold on because even though I think we get that bounce to get above $6, and then, I look to get a little bit out, right, to be defensive. A couple of weeks later, we got up there. We got almost to $9. And, at least we can, be defensive and protect, some of that capital that I invested basically back in 2025, right? Well, this year we're still in 2025. Anyway, let's go right away. I've had it, guys. I've had enough. This industry is poisoned. It's poisoned. And I don't know what I have to do to get that attention. Maybe some more live trading, basically. It's possible. If we do hit those highs, I'm happy to get into a short at 87.7k, which we're coming into that level. Anyway, let's go. The best technical analyst on YouTube, Dylan, my man. Much love to you, my man. You're the best teacher. All right. Okay, all good, all good. I had to remove that comment. Respect Andy too much. No hype, emotions. Much love to you, my man. Ethereum analysis. We can maybe do some Ethereum later on, but you know, we are here for Bitcoin. We are here for Bitcoin. You know, main asset to trade is Bitcoin. On Saturday, look, we do talk about a few scenarios. We can have a favorite scenario, but make sure to check out the video on Saturday. We talked about a level, you know, maybe to get into it. We talk about a level that looks interesting. We do not put limit longs. I do not put limit longs and go to bed and hope for the best. We talk about the level. If that level is broken, you know you do not get in a long position. You just don't get into the long. If you get some kind of a reaction, you realize that that level is holding. So your stop loss automatically gets below the level of the reaction. But if there's no reaction eventually, that you know, you just don't get into the long. It's as simple as that. Obviously, we talked about that short trade here in this zone, which was the value area high, and we were just speculating on that possibility of an ABC, right? Or a 1, 2, 3. You know, maybe it is a third wave that breaks down. But if you are going to speculate on a lower high, look no further. You're looking at 50% golden pocket here at the value area high zone, right? If you break the value area high successfully, then you just don't want to participate in that short. If you're trading up here, you know, just forget about it, right? It did not reject from the value area high. It did not get a reaction. It did. So, you know, there we go. You got that movement down, and that you got the Japanese bond, you know, FUD and Michael Saylor FUD. Well, yeah, well, doesn't matter. You know, we were talking about the possibility of the price doing this based on the analysis that we had of this movement. And you know, just yesterday, you know, we talked about how, based on the new recent information that we have on the lower time frame, that breaking down successfully here, we were trading somewhere in this zone. I mean, we can check the video. Where were we trading? At 85.9. You know, if we come down below 84.8, you know, look for, you know, a reaction, get back above that recent low, because bouncing here is, you know, there's a good chance that we do bounce and sweep up the recent lower highs of yesterday. There's a very good chance that the price does get above 87k and doesn't break down successfully from this region. You can check out the live stream yesterday, guys. You know, there's no sugarcoating here. Let's go right away through the technical analysis. Enough is enough, guys. Enough is enough. I've had it. We are here to take over, guys. It's about time. We are taking over. Enough crying. I've been crying a little bit the last few days on YouTube, asking for likes and comments and all of that. Thank you very much. The people that are here and they are legit and they understand the analysis and they're here to improve their trading, they will succeed. There's no doubt about it. There's no Steven, my man, much love. Andy, I was never an Elliott Wave man until I started watching your stuff. Now I am sold on Elliott Wave theory. Really informing, confirming all my other TA. Absolute legend, Steven. Much love to you. I'm glad it's actually helping on your analysis and your own technical analysis. Okay, your own TA. Let's go. Switch to stocks. There is the future. Forget crypto, says Kai. I started with stocks in 2017. DAX 30, the German stock market. That's where I started trading. In my, you know, when I started it with technical analysis, you know, I started in 2017, early through 2017. It's about 8 years now, and then transitioned into crypto directly in 2018. I think Bitcoin is the sweet spot. Bitcoin is a high liquid market, over 1 trillion. You know, it's enough, very tradable, very liquid. Just trading Bitcoin is enough. If you know, it's, you know, you can trade millions of dollars on Bitcoin. So shorting, longing, whatever. But yeah, stock market, I kind of want to get into stock market, but I'm not that guy that has, you know, 10 screens and I'm looking at gold, at silver, stock market and the bond market and all of that. You know, it's just too much information. Be good at reading one market. Be good at reading one. And obviously, you know, sometimes Ethereum, sometimes other cryptos, but man, you need kind of one market, right, to be good, to scratch some dollars, right? And, you know, my favorite one has been Bitcoin throughout the last few years. Maybe if you stopped wearing your pajamas to the stream, Andy, People will take you more seriously. Man, you know, yeah, maybe get one of my watches on as well and put a suit on and a tie. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not that kind of guy. You know, you need to judge me based on the analysis and the value that is given on the stream, not because of what I'm wearing, guys. Come on. This ain't 2017 drop shipping courses being sold online. Come on, we are in a new era. People want to see good quality content. Doesn't matter if you have a beard or not, and you're feeling that, you know, you have your pajamas. But anyway, good point, Dylan. That is true. And never forget where we got the knowledge from. Thank you, Andy. Chabel, much love to you, brother. You got a suit on right there on your profile picture. You look like a G. You look awesome right there. I can see it in the small profile here. Absolute legend. Much love to you. Stephen, much love, my man. Question, Elliott wave theory makes sense in which time frame? Which is the lowest time frame where it makes sense? That is a very, very good question. Obviously, higher time frame is going to give you that, you know, more relaxing way. You know, we go down even to the 5-minute time frame. But I mean, Elliott wave theory can be applied on every single time frame. I would forget the 1-minute time frame, but it's applied on every time frame, right? The thing is, the problem that we have here right now is with, you know, this movement up, right? I am giving the probabilities that this movement to the upside is more corrective than impulsive, regardless in an ABC or regardless in a WXY. We can go in detail later on if you want. And having a 5-wave move to the upside here does not fit nice. So the overall question right now is, how are we rejecting from here? For the moment, we got a 3-wave structure, right? And this is the 15-minute time frame. Inside, you know, even zooming out on the 1 hourly, right? You can see on the 1 hourly, you got this high, you got this low, you got this lower high, and now you got this low. I explained yesterday why all of these waves are part, very likely part still of this 3rd wave down. So there's 2 options right now. There's 2 options. This could either be an ABC. This is bullish, right? There's an option. There is an option, even though it doesn't look good. This could be a bullish, impulsive move up. It doesn't look great. We can go in detail later on. You got 3 waves for the moment. Or we're looking at this scenario right over here, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We take out the lows again throughout the next 24 to 48 hours potentially, right? Based on the timing. The invalidation for a wave 4, because wave 4s do not reach golden pocket, the 618. They usually reject at the 382, the 236 to the 50% Fibonacci zone. That is the rejection area, which we're currently in right now, right? And then your question is, well, what time frame do we take a look at Elliott wave theory, right? Regardless if this is a 3rd wave or it's a C wave, right? It doesn't matter, right? For the moment, we've got 3 waves. And you might think, well, hang on a minute. I can see more waves on the lower time frame. There's a few more waves here on the lower time frame. So why not? Why isn't this a 3rd and this is a 4th and a 5th, right? That's when you zoom in on the 15-minute or 5-minute time frame. And like, this is like really going into detail. You need to have time. You need to be patient. You need to have the knowledge. And looking at the knowledge, what you do have from the last pivot high, which is this one at 91,900, to the, you know, these pivot lows. I mean, this is what we talked about yesterday. You know, even if we take out the low here, I am looking for a bounce. And you might think, well, how did you come with that high probability scenario that we would not break down? First of all, this is too shallow. This is, you know, this would still very likely be the same wave, just because these bounces are very, very shallow. And if you get these shallow bounces hitting the 236 Fibonacci, you know, you're still very much likely in that, you know, same wave. These are too shallow of a bounce. You know, you need at least a larger range, and 382 most likely to be hit. okay? Or at least at a bare minimum, a larger range in time. So when we go, you know, throughout this momentum to the downside, bear with me here. Look, it's going through, you know, that in a 5-wave move to the downside, inside of your wave 3, you are going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that's where the magic comes. When you zoom in on the lower time frame, you're actually going to see your first wave 1 and 2 of your third wave. And then is where it becomes, you know, a little bit more complex, where you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 and 5 and 4 and 5, right? Where you do have 3 1 2s and you have 3 4 5s. All of this, when you zoom out, is going to be a 5-wave move. When you zoom out without seeing the noise of the 5-minute time frame, it's going to be a 5-wave move to the downside. And that's literally what I want to explain from this movement down here, right? Let's just do it. Let's just do it very, very quickly, right? Where we've got this, this, and this. Now we're going to do this. I'll do it as quick as I can, guys, just so you know. As quick as I can. Right. This is what we got from the highs. This is the highs, right, from the bounce of the weekend. There's no more to it. You can't make this up. Yeah, you got this high, but this is where we get another fresh wave, right? But from this high at 91.9K, from the exact pivot high, you got this momentum to the downside, right? You can see how you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? You can see it. There's 3. There's no, you know, you can't make it up. It's there. It's on the chart. Then you get the big move down. Very, very big. There's no waves here. There's no stops. There's no stops in the middle anywhere here. It's just a massive waterfall. If you continue waterfalling with no stops, once you get an internal stop, that's when you can look at this being a wave internally from the lower time frame, right? So that's your first little stop right there, 3, 4, 5, right over here. So you can see from this pivot, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You got a 5 waver here, as you can see from this momentum. Okay, so you covered the first 1 and 2. Now it's time to cover the second 1 and 2, this one right over here. It's time to cover this one. Well, then you got this 4 and this 5 right over here, right? One more lower high, one more lower low. Now you got one more 1 and 2 to cover, right? Which is this one right over here. Your last one, the first one, which is this one right over here, 4 and 5. This is looking at the 15-minute or the 5-minute, and when you zoom out on the 1 hourly time frame, that's when you're going to see literally, you know, a 5-wave move down on the higher time frame, right? So just a little explanation here. And you know, the good thing about being positioned from that long trade that we mentioned yesterday, okay, this, you know, this could be the low, and you know, we might be pumping above $93,000 in the next coming days. We might be, you know, we might be pumping up here just because, you know, there is a way of counting this as an impulse. Even though it looks horrible, guys, I'm not favoring it. I'm not favoring this scenario. But if even though if there's a small probability that it could be, nobody knows. But if it can be a movement up in an impulse, take it into consideration. Take it into consideration. And if you can position yourself at the, you know, somewhere in this region, understanding this wave down, the biggest move, maybe it can be an ABC, maybe which is the one that I'm favoring here, guys. I'm not, this is just looking at the, when I feel bearish and I feel like a lower high is going to be formed in this region to take out the lows, I like to talk about more the scenario that I don't like because I know my favorite scenario, and I want to consider the scenario that I don't like, which has less probabilities, because they do happen, right? But most importantly is where to position yourself, understanding the movement down that we've had here. This is too shallow of a bounce to nuke down. I mean, if it would have nuked down, which is very, very possible, let's imagine, based on yesterday's live stream, that I said, guys, there's a good chance that we do not break down here from the recent lows that we formed yesterday. And if we do test them, there's a good chance that we reclaim. If we reclaim it, it gives you an entry point, right, to sweep up the lower highs out above $87,000, right, from this range, which is currently where we at. And this is the zone where I do believe we're going to reject. Okay, just hear me out here. This is what I'm favoring at the moment. But the good thing about this is, if you entered here and you understand the bullish case, the scenario that you least liked, if you longed eventually, take some profits here eventually, but leave some open, because potentially, if the market decides that, then it suddenly breaks out very aggressively with high volume, right? And it forms a kind of a 5-wave move to the upside, either, taking out the high or not, it doesn't matter. But you understood where to position yourself yesterday, right? And you thought, and then you're thinking, well, if you are attempting any shorts in this region, you at least got a bit of a hedge after taking some profits, just in case. This is the beauty right now, right, of being doubly positioned, right? That you at least got something that is backing you up here. And anyway, guys, I really try and give. Sometimes I feel that I'm giving too much information, and whoever's new to the channel is really going to be like, wow, there's just too much to get in here. But if you are consistent on the learning, you will be very, very good at detecting, the opportunities, guys. Trust me, you will be very, very good if you stick around long enough, a few months, and you really take all of this deep, right, into your brain, and you read the markets like a boss, which you can do, right? And that's what I try to share. I'm wrong a lot of the times, guys, eventually. But the good thing is you need a backup. When you are wrong, you need to have very good risk management. You need to understand your invalidation, right? Don't be too greedy, guys, right? Don't be greedy, because when I've been greedy and I've been overconfident, when I'm in the zone in trading, right? I've had, weeks that I've been, mainly in profit and mainly profitable trades. And then I've been feeling a bit too cocky, a bit too confident, and over positioned myself in a trade. And obviously, you give a bit back to the market, right? If you don't continue with that good risk management, which is risking in between 1 in 3 on every trade, 1 in 3%, right? The moment you scale to 4 or 5%, you're taking the risk, right? You're just taking that extra risk that you should not take, because you just need a couple of stop losses, right, of 5-6%, and you're down then 15%, right, in less than a week, which is a significant hit for most of the people, right? Anyway, let's quickly go through the comment section. We'll break down here a little bit of the scenarios. Just wanted to explain a little bit what we mentioned the last few days, right? Levels of interest. This one for the short, this one for the long, but we nuked down from this level, so let the price go if you have increasing volume. There will be a moment that we'll find a range and we'll have that information. And with that little downtrendy structure that we had yesterday, we could detect that, guys, this is your next scenario. Test the lows, and if you get back above, you can long to the $87,000 plus zone, right, which is currently where we're trading. Understanding that the probabilities of breaking down from here are actually low. But the plan here is to, you know, if the price breaks down, right? Andy, you said that there was low probability in breaking down from here, right? And then on today's stream, you know, just imagine that we're trading at $79,000. You know, I have to come up and say, well, guys, you know, we did not, you know, the scenario that I mentioned yesterday of there's low probability in breaking down here. You know, well, it just continued moving down. And you might think, well, what happened? Well, I can tell you what happened. You know, you're still developing your third wave. You're still developing your third wave here to the downside. That's you know, my conclusion that I would come up with in today's stream. 1, 2, 3, right? You're still moving down a few $1,000s. So obviously you need to have an explanation on that. And, you know, but the important thing is, well, I got into a long and I got wrecked, right? Just imagine, because I'm going in detail on what would happen to my community, right? To the people that are watching me on YouTube, just because I said that there's low probability yesterday and breaking down here successfully. Well, I got into long limit longs. No, we never say that you should trade like that, right? I never trade like that. Why? Because, you know, I get wrecked if I do this limit long BS. I do not know if we're going to get a bounce, right? I know that there's a good chance of not breaking down successfully here. And this is why we create plans and we create guidelines. It's super important, guys, here. This will improve your trading significantly to the next level. I know a lot of people that are watching here is because they want to improve and they want to know my point of view, obviously, on what could happen next. But I really want to focus on education, because the end game is for you to not be here in the next, you know, few months or maybe a couple of years. Maybe that's why my views have gone down, because people have already learned and they don't need to watch anybody else, right? So it would be actually cool if that is the case. But hear me out here. According to the plan that was mentioned yesterday, you need a couple of pivots where you can understand where the price could get a bounce. It's either test the lows and reclaim them to then get that bounce to get above $97,000. And the main reason this was my target, guys, this ain't some random Picasso drawing on the chart just to say, well, yeah, take some profits over here. The main reason why is that the target zone is getting above $87,000 if you test the lows here and reclaim, is because it's very, very common to get above the fourth waves. If you are finishing an impulsive move down, okay, in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's very, very common when you finish the fifth wave to get above the fourth wave. It's very, very common, which is literally here what, you know, the drawing right there. Very, very common to get this bounce above the lower highs. It's not Picasso drawing and just inventing that, you know, I think that we're going to get up here. No, it's just a very, very common thing that happens looking at the charts, you know, looking at history. Look, what's the most common thing that happens when you get these movements? If you get this kind of movement down, you know, if 85% of the times, if once you detect that possible end of the fifth wave on the larger time frame wave, 85% of the times you get above the fourth wave, which are these lower highs. So eventually you're getting that edge, right, of understanding what usually happens to get positioned yourself, right? So yeah, just a little bit of breaking down here, guys. Just brainstorming here with you legends, okay? And yeah, so going back to this point where I said, you know, if you are going to break down from this low, you need to have a guideline. The guidelines yesterday was this one. It's either this pivot or it's either the pivot low that we reclaim. I ain't going to play catching longs here or limit longs. I ain't going to play that game, guys. I've played many times on that game and it ends up bad. You're going to get a few good ones. If you did it yesterday, well, you're in the green. But you need to have proper risk management. You need to have guidelines. And the guideline here was, if you dip beneath this recent low and you attempt to get back above it, that's your entry zone and that's your stop loss. And your target zone is here. If you continue this movement down, then your next level to consider that, you know, this fifth wave probably has got a little bit extended. Look no further. It's that major higher time frame pivot higher low, which is beautiful for a liquidity grab and is actually in confluence with the 7-8 Fibonacci from the pivot low, right, of the 21st of November to the pivot high, all right, that we formed last week here at $93,000. That's the next guideline. So if, you know, if we would have pushed down here and tapped this level and reclaimed it, get a reaction, you know, that's your long trigger, that's your stop loss, you know, to look for that bounce to sweep up the lower highs. I mean, that was basically the plan yesterday. So the plan today, I'm just remaining a little bit patient. I like these lower highs, guys. You know, let's just say the only valid trade setup that I do see here is this pivot. We might hit it in the next coming minutes. I'm a very, very patient trader. I'm just going to wait for that pivot to be hit. It might not be, maybe it's not going to hit it and it rolls over. Maybe it blasts through the level. If it does, I'm not shorting, guys. If we tap it and get back below, I'm going to give it an attempt. I will give it an attempt, guys. Because at the end of the day, you know, what we are prioritizing right now is the overall downtrend on the higher time frame, and you know, giving a chance for this to be a 5-wave move to the downside, you know, which we are developing the 4th wave. That's what I am prioritizing at the moment. And you know, you need to have a plan, you need to have a level, you need to have, you know, a strategy. And you know, it's even the 50% Fibonacci. I mean, it would be golden. Hit that 50%, hit that lower high from that bounce that you had after the drop. You know, anchored VWAP from the highs of this rally that we had in the last 10 days. It is also sitting a little bit higher than that, but it's coming into that level. It is coming into that level. So yeah, I mean, this is the best zone that I can say. You know, I would be happy to attempt that short on the reaction. We've rolled from here, you know, it's all right. I'm short from higher. If we, you know, if we blast through the level, then, you know, it just didn't work out. You know, this is an invalidation if we hit the golden pocket. If you tap into this zone and get that reaction after this, you know, this little dead cat bounce. I mean, this is an inefficiency candle. If you do not reject from here, you could literally blast off. You could really pump, you know, $2,000-$3,000 easy, just like this. Same thing, guys, right? We talked about this throughout last week. If you break this pivot, it's the same scenario. Hang on a minute. Let me just clean the chart here 1 minute. There's too much noise at the moment. It's the same explanation, guys. You break this pivot, you break that fair value gap. Yeah, this is you know, I do not want to be in a long position if you lose that higher low. If you get a reaction, I will attempt it with good risk, stop loss beneath the low. If you lose that level, yeah, there's no way in a million years I'm going to participate in a long position anywhere in this zone or catch a falling knife if you lose that pivot high of this fair value gap. There's no way. The same applies here, guys. It's the same goddamn thing. It's your first little order block, if you wish, and you got massive inefficiency here. Fair value gap. When you consider and you combine Elliott wave theory and a little bit more confluence, which would be that, you know, anchored VWAP from this pivot lower high of last week, and you know, you have Elliott wave theory scenario, which is, you know, forming that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, this is the zone that needs to reject. I ain't going to play funny business here of, you know, adding to short positions and hope for the best. Yeah, we'll leave that for the people that are, you know, just gambling, right? We, you know, I don't gamble here. I'm looking to make some gains and I'm looking to protect my capital overall, which is the most important thing. So yeah, I mean, it's a strategy. It's common sense. You have a fair value gap. You don't want to be in a long position if you lose that pivot. if we do, if we break above that lower high at 87.7, I need to see a fake out. I need to see a movement up, hitting the resistance and failing to fill the fair value gap. If we fail to move up successfully, I mean, it's crystal clear, guys. There's no more to it. If you fail to move up, stop loss becomes the high. You're targeting the lows. It's simple. It's easy. You have a strategy. You have a plan. You have good risk management. It's you're combining Elliott wave theory with fair value gap, with confluence, with resistance. And if you push through here, you just don't want to be in a short, because you have the danger of moving up to 89, 90k, and filling up all of that movement up. And that's what happens, because I can tell you that's what happened a few days ago once we lost this fair value gap right over here. You move down as fast or faster to the downside. So I mean, that's the crucial point. You either fail or you either blast off. You do not want to be in a short position anywhere in this zone, right? I hope it makes sense, guys. Anyway, let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and see what's going on. There's not much that I could say here. We can really go through the 5-minute time frame and try and spot what the heck is going on with this bounce, because, man, this bounce, it doesn't look that great, if I'm honest with you. Whoa. This is going to be a little bit challenging here on the stream to go through this bounce, but we can do that. We can do that. See if we can detect if this is looking more bullish or bearish. I'm going to say it looks more bearish. But would there be a possibility of counting multiple 1-2s here? We'll go into detail right now on the 5-minute time frame, guys. Thank you for joining here. I hope you're having a great time. Remember that you got some awesome exchanges down below, guys, to claim some, great perks, okay, down below. They are affiliate links. I may earn a commission because of you signing up, okay? Make sure to read down below. Bluffing is great. My Go decentralized platform, which is Velto. You just connect your wallet. There's no middleman. Bluffing is great. BTCC is great. There's some exchanges that I've been using throughout the last, several months right now, even over a year, bluffing easily. And you got some great deals down below, okay? These are exchanges that I like to use, all right? It's another way to support the channel. Another way if you want to still see me continue here on YouTube providing, educational content and explanations overall, okay? Because what we like to do is talk about the plan, talk about the directional bias, talk about the confluence, talk about the dangers of, this is not a great zone to be, trying to catch a high if you break this pivot based off the inefficiency, right? You never like that. You never like that. You need to give the explanations on why these happens, right? Why did we cross this movement down? I know some people know about it, but for people that don't know about it, there you have it, right? This is kind of a dangerous zone to be adding to the short, not managing risk and stuff like that, because, there is that risk of this being an ABC. Maybe it is, guys. I don't know. Maybe it is a 3-wave structure, and this movement to the upside is bullish, right? Maybe this movement up is a 5-wave structure, and this is a 3-wave structure. I'm not counting on it. This 5-wave move up, it looks like it doesn't look great. So, you want to realize where you're wrong, right? I need to realize where I'm wrong and where I don't want to be positioned in a short, right? And that's where your best tool comes into play, which is your risk management. It doesn't matter who you learn technical analysis from, who your risk management is your best friend in your trading career. Let's go through comment section. It's about time to say hello to the rest of the community and see what's going on. Devalt, like smashed for the legend. Go and check out Devalt. Devalt launched a course, which I'm very excited about. Very excited about. Devalt's a legend. Devalt is like, sometimes he's putting updates in the pro community and I'm like, but there's nothing else I can add. I need to go to the minute time frame to add a little bit more value in the pro community when Devil steps in. Shout out to you, my man. Go and check out Devil's channel. He's great educator as well in this industry. Okay, absolute legend. Much love to you, Andy. Your analysis presentation is fire today as usual. Thank you very much, Diesel. I'm going to do my best. I've had enough, guys. I was feeling a little bit down based on views, the strike on YouTube, you know, people not enjoying the content. We need to provide the scenarios, the levels. I mean, I try and do my best, guys. Yesterday, we were talking about the probability of not breaking down successfully, and the only trade that I see available is testing the lows and getting back above. So if you get that below 84.8K, remain patient. You know, it's probably not going to break down here. Get that bounce back above. Entry, stop loss beneath the low. Look for that bounce. I mean, what else do we want, right? What else do we want? What else do we want? Damn, anyway, I know a lot of people do appreciate it. I know a lot of people here in the comment section. We can see that is absolute fire analysis, a presentation. Diesel, much love to you, my man. Okay, remember, you know, have a coffee in the morning, create a plan, levels, never be greedy, and never just randomly get into longs or shorts, guys. The market is ferocious. The market is here to take your money. Okay, you can get into a few good trades and you might think you're God. The market will take your money if you don't plan accordingly and you remain consistent with your risk management. Hey Andy, good day. Umay, much love. Devil said we're going to 88K SFP. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, this is something that we, you know, yeah, this is the pivot, right? That's the pivot. It is also with a 50% Fibonacci. Yeah, it's kind of, you know, me and Devil are very, very similar. It's just pure analysis, pure knowledge. You know, it's kind of in that zone, right? We're gonna dive into the 5 minute here, guys, and bear with me. People that are you know, leaving the stream right now, they are missing out on the special effects. They're missing out on the Picasso drawing, right? Which is what we like to take a look at the next day, right? So the people that are leaving the stream right now, they're missing out in the meat and potatoes. They just, you know, threw the towel. They're like, I can't take it with this dude online, you know. He's only talking, you know, he's only just, you know, blah, 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 a lot too much talking. Anyway, guys, I can be a little bit of a silly Billy. But I'm feeling good today, guys. I'm feeling good. Okay? Oi, mate. I'm about to liquidate in it. My man, much love. Staffer1, the legend himself, the biggest moderator right now that I do have. For the moment, that is most consistent. Staffer1, much love to you, brother. Thanks for being on the stream. Anyway, let's go right away, continue on the comment section, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes. I can tell you there was somebody. I like to take a look at other people, guys, just to see what's going on. You know, people that are getting over 1,000 views on their streams. You know, some random dude here was talking about a triangle or something here in this zone and to, you know, blast off here to the upside. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Pretty famous. I'm going to tell you that, you know, some hints. People that do this kind of crap, right? Man, over 1,000 views on his stream, consistent viewers. I'm like, wow, this is insane. Maybe we're going to get into the triangle trading style and polls and moving averages on the stream. See if that gets a bit of attention, because my God, yeah, if we get wrecked, don't blame it on me though. Anyway, let's go. Some people just want to, yeah, well, hey, you know, some people just want to know the scenarios. Your invalidation is 88.9K. We are downtrending. There's no big major reason to believe that we're gonna, you know, rocket from here. If you do, you need to have an invalidation. Your invalidation is crystal clear. You know, if you hit, we're probably looking at something else. If you hit the golden pocket, which is 88.8K, that's it. Yeah, you know, you're happy. You know, just manage risk. You know, don't go all in. You know, risk 1%. If you wanted to attempt that, well, I like to get into the really, really specific zones and reject. I understand we could reject from here. I understand very much that maybe the price could roll over already. I mean, this is your scenario. This is the scenario here based on, you know, the downtrend, the big volume, and if it's going to be a fourth wave. Your invalidation is 8. So if anybody wants to attempt that, well, that's your invalidation. Manage risk accordingly. But yeah, I do get it. People just want to know exactly what to do, right? Some people just want to be told what to do instead of learning and working out themselves. You know, you're always going to fail if you do that long term. You're always going to fail, right? Look for good, solid educational content on YouTube that is you're gonna build up, right? Your future of trading. I know who you're talking about. J Trading. Andy, long or short? Yo, Simon Jones, absolute legend. Here he is. Simon Jones 2319. Andy is number 1. Love tuning in with you, brother. Steel and Stone, much love to you, my man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're next in line for a big number on YouTube, 100%. Yeah, we're not gonna read anything here. I have no hate on anybody, okay? I have no hate on anybody, but I realize what is wrong analysis and what is right analysis. I'm very, very good in detecting that throughout the crypto tube. But the thing is, I'm sorry to say, guys, there's more dumb people in this world than smart people. It is what it is, right? And obviously, if you have very complex analysis and, you know, difficult maybe to understand at the beginning, you're going to get a lot of people that just throw the towel. And it's just the same thing on everything, right? If something's hard, you don't like doing something hard or something that is hard to learn. It's easier just to throw the towel, right? And if you have something online, which is a bunch of moving averages and a bunch of nonsense, and it's just very easy to put on the chart, you know, just get this tweet, you know, everybody's going to be like, oh, well, that's cool, I can follow that, right? It's not sustainable long term. You need to do the work. You need to find out what are the probabilities, work on your risk management, right? And go in deep the rabbit hole to really be a pro. This guy literally taught me Elliott waves, which was not familiar about. Hats off, Andy. Much love to you, MK. This is why you and Alexo Crypto are my go-tos. Alexo Crypto, I really like him. He's actually really good with internal scalping strategies. Shout out to Alexo Crypto. He's actually really, really good. I like it because, I mean, he uses VWAP, you know, golden pocket 7A order blocks. That's all good for scalping. You know, he gets into small little movements. You don't need to know Elliott wave theory to basically get into internal scalps. What we like to do using Elliott wave theory and zooming out on the 15-minute, 1-hour time frame is looking for projections, right? Projections of the movements. This projection up, right, which is a few $1,000s, right? We look at larger projections. You can trade a little $500 move, you know, anytime, right? In these little movements, you can use a little bit of VWAP. You know, that's all good. It's all different strategies. You don't need to learn Elliott wave theory, right? When you're getting into these internal scalping zones, right? But anyway, we would just like, I think it's good education. It gives you good projections. I mean, latest setups. And I hope I get some comments as well, guys, because on Saturday's video update, I cannot deny it. You know, I talked about the possibility of the price bouncing in this region. Okay. But most importantly, be careful. Danger zone in this area. If you lose that pivot, man, don't get trapped. Don't get trapped. Get out of the trade. Get out if you lose that level because of this fair value gap, this inefficiency. You know, there's no proper solid support in this zone. And, you know, it's just so you understand, right? If anybody tried to get into that trade just because they didn't know how to handle it, I mean, it's pretty damn clear, guys, that you should not have longed here with this big move down or put any limit longs. Okay, stay away, guys. Even though we talk about a level of bouncing, you need to set alerts. And then once that alert above the level is hit, look at how you get to that pivot, the guideline that you have. If you lose it, stay away. The price is going to come down. It's going to form a range, and then we'll figure out another setup, which was the one from yesterday, guys. If we claim the low, I'm looking for a reclaim here. It's unlikely that we continue down, right? And you don't need to participate on the volatility, which is just nuking down, right? Anyway, enough talking. We need to go through the 5-minute time frame, right? I promised it. Like the stream, lovely people. Staffer1, the absolute legend. Like the stream. Let's see how many likes we do have. And we're going to do a light recount right now and see what's going on. If we're under 200, I'm going to stop the stream right now. Under 200, no way. Wait, no way. Under 200 likes, no way. Let's go. Let's go. Staffer1, much love. Good morning, Andy. Luke, my man. Yeah, we've gone through a lot of scenarios. I feel bad for all of the people that are joining right now. Thank you very much, legends. Let's dive in here. I'm not going to overcomplicate things. You know, this is the danger zone. Do we have a chance here of the price forming multiple 1-2s on the 5-minute time frame? I would rather prefer to see this as some kind of a double zigzag. I mean, man, this really needs a lot of brain power. I would say there's a bit of a zigzag move here. Man, if we're going to count internally the moves. Whew. Yeah. Possible flat scenario here. Double zigzag. I mean, the thing is, you need to kind of figure out if there is a possibility of this being impulsive. And, you know, you have to definitely say that there is a possibility. Man, this should have, I mean, yeah, this is 5-minute, guys, you know. Obviously, this is what I do in the morning with my coffee, but not now. Would I consider this 3-3? Yeah, some kind of a wave 4 here. This could be a running flat, and this a wave 5. I'm not counting on it. Either wave 4 here. That's also valid. That's also valid. But man, this is 5-minute. There's so much overlap and so much. Highest amount of volume throughout this movement. That's okay. So you've got big volume here, a big spike in volume here, which starts off in this move where the highest volume is. You always want to consider that wave 3. A bit of a sideways long range here. So either a WXY or a kind of a running flat here for that wave 4. Wave 4s are usually quite long in sideways momentum. Yeah, you could say that maybe that this could be a 5 waver. And, you know, squeeze out from here and then get the correction. Regardless if it is going to be a 5 waver or a WXY, double zigzag, where you'd have a zigzag, you know, a bit of a sideways correction here. A bit of a flat, if you wish. Okay, to form that wave X. Wave W, and now you have a zigzag move up in a wave Y that pushes through and fails, right? That's what we're looking at. You know, it's either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tops out, gets a pullback, or it's a WXY and, you know, either nukes down. You know, and if it is going to be an extended 5th wave, it's going to be tricky. You know, this is a zone that I would not be interested in shorting if it does top out somewhere. You know, it's not part of my strategy if you get into the inefficiency here. It's just dangerous to try and detect, you know, where it's going to actually reject. It's not easy. The best scenario is tap above the high and then reject. Then you got the attempt. Good risk management. Move down. Perfect, right? I would start considering taking some profits down here at these higher lows, because if it is going to be bullish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, most commonly you get beneath the 4th wave. right? You need that rejection, guys. Super important. This is not catching the pump. Forget about catching the pump. Wait for the rejection. Wait for the rejection, right? That's going to be the zone. You've got good risk management. If this does not fail, you get up, you get stopped out, move on. That's it, right? But you're not going too crazy. WXY makes sense as well. Zigzag up, a flat in X, and another little zigzag here. That's yeah. I like better the double zigzag, especially considering the downtrend that we are in, right? You know, my priority scenario here is really looking for this to be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, right? And then a larger range or a bounce, and then, you know, continue to the downside in the next coming days. That's what I'm prioritizing, just because, you know, we are downtrending, right? On the higher time frame, we're in a downtrend. You know, we got a big move down here with high volume. You need to give priority to the bears. You needed to give priority for this to be a wave 3. And, you know, right or wrong, you know the levels, you know the zone, you know when not to do something, right? At least I do, and I want to share that with you, right? I know where I need to sit on my hands if you break out from here. You know, I ain't going to be adding to short or any of that nonsense. The thing is, if we do break out, look, is there a chance for a multiple 1-2? I have to say it doesn't look great. A multiple 1-2 here, what you like to see when you have a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, yeah. What you want to see on 1-2s is literally your waves overlapping and getting kind of smaller, right? I mean, the best example that I can give you is right over here, just yesterday, right? That's the best example. Look at this, right? When you have build up of 1-2s, look at this, they're getting smaller and they're overlapping. That's what you want to see to the upside. You want to see this kind of thing. You don't want to see this and then this and, you know, and then this, right? Then you need to consider a 5 waver, which is what we have right over here. You know, I would rather fit with this high volume in this region that this is a third wave, 4-5. I would rather say that this is not a multiple 1-2 and it's more of a 5 waver if it is going to be bullish, meaning that you're looking for the price potentially to top out in this region and at least sweep out the lows. So you've got two scenarios here. If it is a 5 waver, you know, you're very, very likely going to reject at this zone. If it is a WXY double zigzag, which I kind of like it as well, where you have, you know, this move up, correction, another move up here, it stops there. So you can consider some complex sideways, kind of a flat scenario. You got a higher low right there, so that fits in nice for another zigzag here. That's good. I like it. WXY, which is, you know, I would really kind of prioritize this scenario based on the downtrend as explained. Best zone of rejection, look no further. It is that inefficiency. It's that fair value gap. This is a no short zone. If you do this and fail, that's what you're looking at as your entry, stop, and obviously roll down. Bullish scenario would be rolling down here and your third wave failing to go to lower levels, and then suddenly out of nowhere it might bounce at the golden pocket, it might bounce at the 7-8. I don't know, and I don't care. What I do know, if you do get a reaction bounce here, very powerful, it breaks the downtrend impulse, and this is where you have high probability that this movement down is corrective, and it's in your best interest to flip your bias right away. If you move down like this, stop loss at the low, you're looking to target the previous highs that was created here, because you have detected that the movement down failed on the third wave. If the third wave doesn't continue down like this one over here, if you want a third wave, you want it to nuke, you want it to continue to the downside. If you have a 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, well, apparently not. It broke down and continued. If you detect that third wave and it fails to claim this low and gets an epic bounce, claiming the, you know, pivot low, lower high, you know, look no further, guys. You know, this is likely corrective. This is possibly going to be that impulse. And that's the moment to flip your bias and take the chance to at least claim this high. And who knows, it might be a third wave to the upside, or it might be a C wave, or it doesn't matter. You're looking for the highs to be claimed, right? It might be one of those that are like, wow, that was the low. That was the low, right? Maybe, because, yeah, but what if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C? You create 1, 2, boom, 3, 4, 5, right? And then suddenly you get this. Well, you know, there are ways in detecting it, guys. And hopefully I'm here to help you to detect those scenarios. We are prioritizing the bearish case, guys, till we get more information. Bearish case is the one that we've been talking about, okay, which is moving down here to claim those lows at 83,800. And yeah, we just know the zones where we do not want to participate. Legends, thank you very much for joining today. Hope you had a great session with me here. We go down already, says Simon. Yeah, maybe it is. Okay, maybe it is going down already. 2.3k BTC wall came online. Insider investors always win, man. We know how to win as well. We know the levels. We know the trading plans. On Saturday, we talked about an entry point. You know, before the Japanese bond market going up, and before the Michael Saylor FUD that he probably needs to sell some Bitcoin. We knew the level of resistance. We knew the speculation of either a ABC or a 1, 2, 3. We knew where the price could have rejected before any of that news or any insider whatever. The same as yesterday, I knew that the probabilities were low. If we tested the recent lows, that we were going to come down, okay, to $80,000 minus $80,000. I knew that the probabilities were low, and the probabilities, if we tested the lows, that we could very, very likely get above $87,000. You know, there's no sugarcoating here. That we detect the probabilities based on the information that the charts give us. Show me the charts, and I'll tell you what is the next highest probability move. Legends, thank you very much for joining today. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to bring an epic video update tomorrow morning to show the different scenarios and the trading plans, okay? Much love to everybody. I have to say, there's some other scenarios, but I just feel it's a little bit too soon because it's just a lot of information. It's just a lot of information. You know, you got this scenario right over here. Hang on a minute. You got this scenario, which it's a bunch of noise at the moment, that if you do overlap and get above $89,000 and you do reject down very aggressively, you know, you could be forming a triangle, or you could be forming a flat, which is more common to get a flat actually, where you have, you know, this movement up as a zigzag down. And if you get above $89,000 and you have a strong rejection in the next coming days, we could be forming a sideways WXY, which only means one thing. It means that we're very likely going to roll over later on, and we'll be here on streams and on video updates to detect if we are continuing the range in a corrective structure, which is only means one thing, guys. You know, we will detect a possible entry zone and a trading plan just to break down and finally get below $80,000. But we need a bit of more information here, guys. You know, I'm not going to talk about this because people are they're gonna go away and say, you know, I've had it with this dude with you know, all of these different scenarios. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining. See you all. Staff of one. Make sure to destroy the like button. Subscribe. We've got some video updates coming tomorrow on YouTube, so pay attention to that, guys. Thank you. Have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.